Carolyn, did we talk about the that idea? Was it the cancer detector last time?
Yeah.
We did.
Oh no, we didn't talk about it last time. I just did that before, like.
Okay, because I remember.
No one liked my thing at first, and then I added it. It was like, so you like have an app.
Yeah. Well, actually, we'll talk.
It's nothing great. Don't worry.
We can talk about that, but yeah, it's like I didn't even notice that you had added it to the list.
Like after I'm like, I don't really talk about my smoothie idea, but like.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. We talked about the smoothie idea.
Don't worry.
All right. Who's that guy? Who are you? No, I know. Yeah. It's pretty extreme. What? Yeah. I can't hear a thing. Okay.
So the PR.
Yeah. Right now?
Yeah.
Oh. Are they live streaming? That would be cool. All right. All right. Actually, AJ, either one of you, first of all, be warned. I don't know if you're in the camera view. You can check it. But anyway, so it's very interesting what's on your Facebook page from the video from last week, because you were sitting there and you were kind of in the field of view. You couldn't really see. You could just see that you were, what you're. Yeah. Well, yeah, I don't know. It depends on how zoomed in it is. Also, would you do me a favor? From time to time, either one of you, like pick up, actually test the headphones. Can you hear these things? Because I've had problems in the past, which I think I fixed, that the audio would cut out in the middle of recording. So, I don't know, just from time to time, or just check it. It would be much appreciated. But anyway, so, yeah. No, just have it. Yeah, we'll talk about that in a minute. So, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is so weird. Let's see, hopefully this is working. I've got all this stuff booted up. Let's see, where was I going to start off with is back here. So the list, and this is still a live document, which I sent out a link to it, actually a short URL in our Slack channel just about like an hour ago or something like that. So you can have easier access to get back here, because this is kind of my thing to kind of track where we are with your ideas. So I'll be bugging you about it from time to time. So I've highlighted a couple things. Number one, with Carolyn, so we talked about, there was the idea, I didn't even realize that you had added it to the list, even though I asked everyone, add your ideas to the list, and you did that. You're the only one who did it so far, but I do want more people to add it. And because you were the only one back then when I actually first asked for it, I didn't notice.
No worries. I reached up with a machine. Basically, it's I don't think it has good.
Yeah. Okay, well, anyway, so the skin cancer detector, is that, we can talk about things all semester long. Is that something you want to talk about today? Put it off for another time?
I don't think it's even possible. I was going to use an app, and then you could scan it, and then
No, actually, yeah, hold on. Yeah.
So I was thinking you could use an app to scan parts of your body, and based on like the picture, I guess you could detect it could see what let's say if you had something.
Yeah, because it was part of another conversation, wasn't it? That we're talking about there are things that can detect things through your skin without invasive, blood tests and things like that.
So I was thinking you could have an app, and then you could scan parts of your body, and then based on the look of something on your skin, it could possibly say go see a doctor, this looks like a little, or it's okay, type thing.
Okay, so anyway, so that's an idea.
Yeah.
So we'll keep it in the mix. Don't necessarily have to talk about it this time. Anyway, so I've got an agenda for today. I'm actually going to start off with Shinge and Michelle's recorded presentations. Actually, hold on to that. I'm gonna play their presentations. I'm gonna ask you guys, do you have questions? And I don't know how this will work. We'll kind of direct the questions at the camera about after we see their presentations of their proposed ideas. And then we'll talk about other things, including the things that I asked you to pull together, such as like, what do you know about your senior capstone, the projects that you're following. And so at this point, because I got feedback, it's like, it's a little harder than I'd hoped for you guys to connect up with the other team. So basically, I'll take whatever you got today, and we'll talk about that, as part of today's class. But here, let me change gears here and crank this up. We'll start with, just because it's at the top of the list, Michelle's idea. So what I'm going to do is open up, let's see, I have her presentation file, and then I'm going to turn her into like a little talking head on the screen there, and see how this works out. So, not a great keyframe, but let's see. So I'll see how small I can get this off to the side, and then I'll crank the, hopefully the audio works here. This might be a bust if I can't, I didn't test, actually, do I actually have audio coming through the HDMI or not? So there's that. There's this. Okay, good, yes. Sound is coming out. So let's see, actually I think I could make this full screen. And then also bring up this. Yay. Actually, this is perfect. So she's going to talk about the music matcher. And I might have to play with the audio a little bit here, but let's see. Perfect. This way. I'll turn it up.
So that idea is a music matcher, which is a simple idea, and it's targeted towards people who like music, so music lovers, and
What?
user find music through platforms and different resources using personality data, in addition to the user's music preferences or what they like in terms of music. And so it would use information from a bunch of different music platforms, some of the bigger ones, which is Spotify and Apple Music, which are kind of at the forefront of music platforms today. And then Pandora, which is like a radio generator type thing. So that also could go into it. SoundCloud, which often lesser known artists use, maybe some some big artists sometimes use it to showcase some of their EPs that aren't trying to go on like the top hits lists. So kind of for the more less mainstream music. And then Tidal, which is a more exclusive music source where artists who are really big will put their music up, and only the few that are signed up for it can see that. So I'd mostly try to incorporate those music platforms just because there's big ones, there's small ones, there's exclusive ones, there's radio ones. So it's a bunch of different things. And how this application would work, it would either be in an application or a website. If the user is using it for the first time, then they would first be asked to fill out a personality test, which would be just all about similar to like maybe like a Myers-Briggs test, like what they like or what they want to, or like who they are as a person basically. And then it would then ask them to just let the website know about their favorite music. So that could be genre or artists or favorite songs or anything like that. And then it would take that personality data with those past preferences and put it all together and generate music every single day for that user to listen to. And so if I was the one who was using it, then the app would be like, hi Michelle, here's your daily music match. And it would give something from Spotify, something from Pandora, something from Tidal, something from SoundCloud, and it would have all of that on one application for the user to see. This is geared towards music lovers because I kind of thought of it because I often struggle with finding new music. I listen to the same artists and then I get bored and try to find something new. But the only thing that ever really helps me is Discover Weekly on Spotify or like daily mixes on Spotify. And even that doesn't help me that much because it gets repetitive and often I see music that I already have heard and I don't really often feel like I wanna, like, it's not always what I'm liking or not always what I wanna listen to. So hopefully that this Music Matcher application would bring all of these different things together to give the optimal experience and to find that perfect mix for the user. One hard part could be just finding an algorithm or creating an algorithm to find that perfect mix because there are so many different platforms that you have to put together, so it might be hard to really have a fully encompassing website or application that could do that. And then another issue would be incentivizing users to use this application because Spotify and Apple Music are so big and people might not be so inclined to use something new or something different. So it could be hard to create that incentive. But something that positive would come from it is that it would generate a lot of views for all of the platforms. So it could, like, Spotify and iTunes and SoundCloud especially would want to partner with it, and also it would have so many different options for the user. So that would be really great. And and so it's basically just this app that matches the user to a bunch of music, and that's basically it. So thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so that's the idea. Actually, before I move on to Shinge's, I'm just going to wait about 30 seconds. Do you have questions or you want clarifications about this idea? And like I said, I'm not exactly sure how to do this, but we'll just direct them to the camera, make sure hopefully the audio is working, and then maybe get back, or Michelle can get back to us. Probably actually just popped into my mind. It's like maybe we can be using Slack more for these kind of remote discussions. Actually, that's kind of one of the values of using Slack is that you can do things asynchronously. So I'll think that through. But since we got the camera rolling and we're here, we can pose the questions here, and then I'll catch up with Michelle later and say maybe we'll try answering not by video but by Slack. But anyway, you got some ideas or some thoughts? Okay, hold on. And I don't know, maybe this is going to get too corny, but I'm going to turn the camera. Look into the camera's eyes.
Yeah. So I think the thing I'm most curious about is the personality test. I'm not what does that entail, but how would that translate to music preference? I know, or at least I'm not sure that those things are necessarily correlated. But maybe I'm wrong, or maybe they are, and it's expected that someone takes a personality test and finds that there's music that they haven't heard of that they really enjoy. But yeah, that's the thing I'm most curious about.
Yeah, that would be the hard part actually, how to connect, how to create a test like that. Yes, AJ.
So I really like what you said about having the having the Spotify. That's something I'm always trying to do, but my big question is how I don't know if there's services you can get where you can consolidate all those sites on one place. That'd be a huge thing for me as someone who's willing to do that. What way are they to do that?
Yeah, okay, yep. That's some initial concerns. Let's see, other ideas or questions. I guess focusing on questions at this point. Here, catch.
My biggest question would be, what happens if even after you link all the services and you don't like any of the music that any of them are providing? Is there a solution to get past that, or it sounds like really cool, but that's my question.
Okay. Other thoughts? Other not shy people? On camera? Okay, because actually, could you point that back forward? My camera crew there. Hello. Actually, I actually had some thoughts along the same lines of what you guys were bringing up. Actually, the first thing was, first of all, I gotta say something positive. Is like there's an obvious need here. Is what you described as like the downside of listening to any of these things is something I think that a lot of people have experienced. So right off the bat, yes, like there's a need there. Now the question is, what about all the barriers? And so you guys brought up, like David, let's see, oh yeah, it would. I'm thinking it almost sounds like a BuzzFeed test, you know, and it's like, and that's kind of I don't mean to put it down, but, you know, it's like, you know, which Dumbledore, you know, are you, or something like that. So it might not be really scientific, but the idea here would be, and this would be the challenge, is to actually make this scientific. Actually have a robust enough personality test to actually have some scientific correlation to actually being, you know, accurate. As opposed to like, well, you like, you know, well, you know, some of the obvious things. If you answer this, oh, you know what you're going to get, kind of thing. So above and beyond that, that would be like my first concern. But we can do that if you guys have the skills, or someone can bring that to the table. The other thing too, what AJ brought up was the term is basically API. Do these systems have an open API that would allow an outside application access their data, and which also brings up questions of licensing. Is that if it's one thing to say, okay, you want to listen to these songs, where are you going to get the songs? I mean, it's like SoundCloud might not be an issue, because I think that's all, you know, by default everything is, I forgot whatever the, yeah, not open source, that's for software, but for other things, there's, I forgot the term. Yeah, but it's like, you know, open licensed type of thing. It's like, yeah, you know, all comers. But for other things, like actually the big name labels, yeah, they protect that stuff, you know, really closely. Now, if you can, as you were bringing up, make agreements with, you know, the companies, Spotify and Pandora and you know, some of the other ones, then yeah, I guess they would, you know, open up that data and also allow you to trigger the playing of those songs as long as it fit within, you know, their licensing their licensing agreements that they've made with their you know, musicians or artists. But that's tricky unto itself. Like for instance, I know with Pandora, you can't pick a song. You can use a song to seed a channel, but it's not going to play that song immediately. It's going to play songs like it and eventually play that song. Yes.
The new like Pandora Premium, you can pick a song. So like now you can, if you pay for the
I do pay for Pandora. I can do that?
Yeah. That's like the whole point, is that you can create your own playlist. They kind of made it like Spotify.
Yeah, I don't know. I've been paying Pandora. I pay them for premium here, which is, by the way,
I don't pay for the premium, but
Yeah.
I get like the ads all the time if they want me to.
and that's the reason I don't know, is because they already have my money. They're
so
not.
it's like you don't give ads anymore, so you.
Oh yeah, I don't get the ads.
Also, like, you can like choose your own playlist. They kind of made like Spotify, I think, because Spotify got such like a following.
Okay, that's interesting. So forget the last thing I said.
But that's only to pay for. I do the free
Yeah.
version because.
Everyone does the free version. I figured I should probably throw them a couple bucks because I play it all the time, and also by playing it in these classrooms, that's not exactly, you know, covered by the licensing. But we don't have to talk about that. Okay, so that was Michelle's idea. That's good. I'll follow up with you, Michelle, by direct messages, and I don't know. We'll figure out a way, or whatever's most conducive for you to respond, or if you want to respond, or if you want to change or alter your idea, there you go. You know, we'll talk about how we can best do that as well. The other out of town one, we're going to talk about the noise canceling curtain. Let's see. So, oops, did I close too much? Yes, I did. 271. Oops. So, Shinga. So, let's see. Here again. And there she is. I'll tell you up front though, starts off, most of the video is a very nice overview of what she's doing. It's a nice catch-up, but actually she only talks about the actual idea for the last like 20 seconds. So focus on that mostly, because that's what we want to talk about at this point, after hearing, you know, how it's going. And so let's see, I'll do this. So basically, even though these ideas are actually kind of related, it's the one on the left that she expounds upon in the video. And let's see if I can get this over here. And also, let's see, got that cranked up.
And then one of the study board students that Professor Kosti usually mentioned before the class, I'll be joining you next semester, and for this semester, I'm doing an exchange program in Tokyo, Japan at Waseda University. And later in this video, I will briefly introduce my capstone idea. I'm a double major in English with Communication track and DMS, and I just finished my anthropology minor last semester. I love hip-hop culture a lot, and that's why I chose Tokyo for this semester. So the capstone project, the capstone idea that I have is the noise adapter, and thank you Lava for supporting me on class. So by using a concept called the feed-forward method that the industry usually uses in noise cancelling, it can have the natural sounds that have the same amplitude to substitute the noise that you want to replace. And the noise adapter is great for people who are bothered by noise pollution, and it's also suitable for natural sound lovers. So usually for a sound that is above 85 decibels, it would be really annoying. So what noise adapter can do is to reduce and filter the noise above 85 decibels. So the noise could then be changed into different natural sounds such as raindrops, wind, and warble.
That was it. Okay. So before I took some notes myself, but let's see if you could noodle that for a second, and if you have questions. Okay. Actually, AJ, put your hand up first. I'll be right back there. We'll do this again. Yep. And
Hello. So I think it's a really cool idea. First of all, I'm just mostly curious about why. I understand why maybe probably like just like, you know, those like big blue like blankets you can get for like construction or whatever. But, like a lot of people use those for insulation and sound cancellation when like recording and stuff like that. And I'm just more curious about like specifying why this is a better option. It's definitely probably going to be a more expensive option. It's definitely a more what's the word? Scientific option? I don't know. Like something that's definitely solving the problem versus like throwing a bunch of blankets up. But I know that's something that works, and I'm just like would like to, I don't know, have that involved in the conversation. I guess.
I think we need maybe some clarification.
Yeah.
I want to hear what you guys have to say first, but I think I understand the particular twist on her idea.
It's definitely
there is a twist to it, and maybe you guys know. Maybe you've taken some audio courses and stuff like that. So let me see. Yeah, Famous. Oh, you're on.
Awesome. So I was a bit, I love the idea too, but I'm a bit confused. When you say it's like earplugs, I assume like you can walk around with it. So in my mind, I picture like a noise canceling like Snuggie, which sounds amazing. And if that's the idea, I love it. If it's not, I still love it. But that's my question. Is it like a Snuggie or like a curtain that's stationary?
Okay. You guys, anyone else? More questions or thoughts? Because here's what I think. Because when I first heard it, I had to hear it a couple times and stare at the slide. At first, I was wondering, it's like, it sounds like noise cancellation software, which, let me, actually, do you guys know what it does and actually generally how it works? Is that whatever sound you have, is creating a wave. And so if you generate a similar sound, that has the opposite amplitude, it basically cancels out the wave, creating silence. And the trick to it, of course, is do you have a fast enough processor to actually generate this, these opposite waves in almost real time, or as real time as possible? And yeah, the answer is yeah, these things exist. which basically just nullify a sound. So I think here's the deal. This is, she mentioned something I've never heard of before, and I couldn't quite make out the name. There's a technique that she referenced that she probably learned in some research or in a class that actually transforms a sound. And you can do this if you took DMS 102, all sounds are just a wave pattern, and you can analyze and even recreate wave patterns by just generating the wave in a computer. So the idea is like take something like if there's a jackhammer 50 feet away from you generating a noise, is there an algorithm that already exists that can turn that into raindrops by mostly canceling the sound but actually transforming it? I have no idea. I've never heard of this before. Has anyone taken any of these audio courses? Has anyone heard of something like this before? Okay, so I guess that'd be my question. What are you talking about? This sounds really intriguing. I mean, there's an obvious need to it. I understand that it's more than noise canceling. It's actually transforming. And if so, that would be a really intriguing digital media studies project, for a capstone. So I'm really intrigued. So anything else on that? Bless you, yeah. All right, so changing gears. Let me just check with you guys. Oh yeah, so I have an idea. So let me actually get out of this, get back to our list, running list of ideas. So it occurred to me that, instead of just using this to ask you guys, to indicate whatever, if you want to propose something new or you want to change or assert yourself and actually bring something in to talk about over this, during one of these Friday sessions, how about if we also use Slack? So basically what I'd like to propose is we should use the chatter channel, since it's already a public channel, and actually it seems named appropriately for what I want to do in there, is basically if you have interest in someone else's idea, in other words, you want to talk about an idea in the next class, just indicate that in the chatter channel, like I'm interested or I want to talk about or I have some more ideas about some idea. Now don't try to explain it in Slack, just in the chatter channel, just kind of say that that's what you want to do in our next Friday session. And then I'll put it in this list, or I don't know, you guys can, well no, actually put it in the chatter channel, and then I'll update this and I'll basically schedule it for our next Friday when we get together to talk about whatever it is that you've got in mind. But actually kind of put it in the chatter channel, and that I think would be a good way to use that, and also schedule what we're going to do from Friday to Friday. Let's see, also indicate if you have a totally new idea that you want to present. Again, don't present it in the chatter channel. Just say, next Friday I've got an idea. Maybe you can give us a little hint or something like that, like a title, to kind of whet our interest. But again, just say that you want to do it for the next Friday, and I'll put it in the list, and that way I won't miss it. And we'll schedule it that way. And also, if for just anything, basically, whatever you want to do in this session, as we go through the semester, request time in the next DMS 371 Friday class. If you want to present like I said, present something new, or even re-present something that you've already introduced, but you want to maybe change something, or you have some ideas because of these discussions, that would be the way to kind of put your hand up to say, I want to do that, put it in the chatter channel, and then we'll do it on the following Friday if we have time. So I'll monitor the chatter channel and schedule basically whatever you want for the for the next class. All right, the next thing is, and this is where we'll kind of change gears. Enough about us, let's talk about them. What are the seniors doing? So first of all, I do want to check this. Do I have this list right? And I suppose, you know, I was thinking about this. It's not too late to bail or change. Like if you did find out something this past week and you says like, oh boy, you know, I don't know what I signed up for, tell me. But the thing is that we do kind of need to smooth it out. I was directed, like, you know, make sure we got someone covering every one of these senior capstone projects. I will give the feedback that for some reason, just saying, no one was interested in covering UR events, and that's why actually more than anything else is like a change from, you know, it's like, no, it must be no more than 3 per group, but nobody wanted. I don't know. I'm not gonna go there. So that's why we changed it. Okay, 4 is okay, but let me know either now or if you want to like send me a direct message. You know, if you don't want to highlight it, and you can change. But here's the thing, you can only change to UR events or exposure unless someone else drops. I don't want to go more than 4 because then it gets kind of stupid. You know, like too many shadowers is like, I don't want to overwhelm them with, you know, people hangers on. So keep that in mind. I guess that's my offer. Anyone want to take me up on it right away? Or because it is first come, first serve. So you might want to assert yourself. Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to push back and say, no, we're not doing that, and I'm not going to push you guys to do it. I do want to basically give you guys a choice, but only but limit it by, you know, quantity. Like, you know, I can't have like all 17 of you all follow PIP or something like that. There's definitely a lot of interest in PIP. So, okay, again, going once, twice. Any other takers right now to change? Okay. So with that in mind. Although you can change, again, I don't think there's a reason why I want to keep you from changing. I think last week I said, you know, it's set in stone. It's like, I guess it's not really set in stone. So let me know if you need to change, you know, based on, like if you find out stuff you didn't want to know. Then there's this list, which kind of basically replicates. In here, you also see the shadowers list. Oh, here's another thing too. It's like, you know, going back and forth and trying to cross-reference everything in our chatter channel and make sure that these lists are right. If I got them wrong, let me know, because I think I got it right. You know, I put your names in the right places. But here's what we got. So I haven't updated this in a while. And everything is like, you know, this, like, as I keep on saying, this really short, probably unfair, like super, you know, just summarized summary of each one of the projects. This is supposed to be a living document, so let me know, like, as you find out more stuff, it's like, no, it's really not that, or that's not fair, like it needs to be expounded upon, or expanded upon. So like X-Space, like VR presentation of the Rochester subway. You're doing that, you're like, so far still good, still fair enough? Okay, so let me now turn it over to you guys. Actually, let me check my notes. So I've not turned it over yet. So yeah, I asked, so even on this stuff, let me know on an ongoing basis by whichever means that you want, except email, because I'm just still overwhelmed by email. So either tell me, or we can do it right now, or send me something in the chatter channel, or if you want, DM me in Slack. But in any case, I want to keep updating this list as we go. One other thing before I ask you guys for, whatever presentation or information you've got on any of these things, let me just kind of bring up the whole idea of a press release. So I haven't even defined like what it is, because quite honestly, I'm not teaching you guys how to do press releases. So the bar is pretty low. And so whenever you can, at just some point, you got to squirt one out, and we turn that over to, to your, whatever the team is that you're shadowing, and I guess they run with it. But in any case, David, I haven't looked at it yet, but I have access to it. Can I put it up here? Okay. So, yeah, there's always one in every class, running ahead, being a, doing the right thing. So thank you very much, David. I just have to find it again. Oh, here. And this time, and now I have access. So I guess this is a Press release, actually, okay, I'll be honest with you, this isn't what a press release usually looks like. It's usually like, it would be a document, and you can Google like, formats and things like that. But this is probably a good start. So I just wanted to share it with you guys, because again, I'm kind of leaving this rather ambiguous in terms of like, so what do you, what's required? After seeing this, I'll say yes, a document would be good with paragraphs. But also this information, like who's on the team, the general concept, like if you turn this into paragraphs, that would be the kind of thing. Inspire, actually, let me blow this up. Oh, yeah, actually. Yeah, actually, I did ask for presentations, but more, maybe it's my miscommunication. So it's basically, I want presentations on just get us up to speed. The press release is another requirement that is required of you guys at some point, probably soon.
Okay.
But
then yeah.
So it's the David Backer Show.
Yeah. So that was my bad. You can, I guess.
Oh,
yeah,
should I go back?
I mean, yeah, you can go back quickly. It's exposure, and then the members are these people who you can read the names of.
Yep.
And okay, yeah. So the general concept was inspired by Alim and Danner, if I'm pronouncing the name correctly.
Yeah.
When they realized that a lot of the people in their DMS capstone class didn't really have a lot of exposure to digital media studies before coming to the school. That's not to say that they had no exposure to digital media, obviously, like they had seen websites and photography, but hadn't really been exposed to it in the context of something that should be studied. And they realized that. And so their idea was to create these workshops to be presented to high school students to sort of promote awareness for digital media studies. So their plan is to do 3 different workshops with Upward Bound High School, a photography workshop, which is actually happening tomorrow, which I'll be at, a videography workshop, and a DJing workshop, which sounds pretty fun. And there's also going to be a website to serve as a kind of like a digital portfolio, and also I assume as a way to share the format for the workshops, because they work in any location. I think that's sort of the biggest draw to them, is that even though, like obviously they're planning a specific event with these specific students, but I mean I've seen their PowerPoint for the workshop for tomorrow, and it's definitely something that can be applied to a variety of different settings, different schools, different group sizes. Given, I know for tomorrow they're going to be actually taking their own pictures, so if there's enough cameras to share. But yeah, I think that's like the biggest draw about it. So that's the general idea. The hurdles so far, and you can skip to the next slide.
Yep.
It's hard to say for like how the actual workshops will go, because again, it's happening tomorrow, so there haven't been any hurdles with that. But the biggest one was apparently actually getting it approved as a capstone. Initially, they didn't have the website aspect; they just had the workshops. And while that has to do with DMS, it isn't like an app or a VR thing. So they added the workshop. I mean, they added the website part of it to make it more of a digital experience. Also, they had issues with group members. It started with just 2, and they needed a 3rd. So they got Zelalim, if I'm pronouncing the name correctly.
We just call him Z.
Z.
Yeah.
Sure. So they got Z on board. But again, also like for me personally, like this isn't a hurdle. This is sort of like something I maybe would change, is that their individual workshops focus more on just like the individual skills. So the photography workshop focuses on photography and what you can do with that, and so on and so forth. I would like, or like I would, if it were me, I would have more of a, slightly more of an emphasis on like the greater field of DMS. Because I think that's sort of also important, that not that these individual skills aren't useful, but they're all connected in this wider umbrella, and that you can focus on one, or you can sort of explore what you can do with a bunch of them together. But yeah, besides that, I'm definitely think that the idea of teaching people about DMS and exposing them to that concept is really important. So I really like the project.
I've got some questions. Anyone else actually have any questions or want to follow up? Hold on to that for a sec. Or I guess, I don't know, I guess I'll be the runner here.
So I know you mentioned that there's like an umbrella of like different possibilities in DMS, and that's something you'd like to see them potentially show. Is it only limited to like DJing and videography and photography? Is that the only thing? Like they don't have anything on like, for example, like game development or graphic design, computer science, or audio?
Yeah.
I mean, they don't have anything planned for those things. They have like these specific workshops planned that they're designing. I think though that the exposure is less those individual workshops and more of a template. So that idea can be applied to game design, to graphic design. But currently they don't have anything planned to do a workshop on those other.
I would imagine they had to draw the line somewhere.
Yeah.
I'm guessing there. Yeah.
Do you have any idea what kind of those workshops look like? Like, do they talk about that at all?
Yeah, the content?
Yeah, I mean, they sent me the PowerPoint for their photography workshop. The first few slides are like various different photos that are impactful in some way, and a definition of photography. And I know again that they're going to be taking their own photos. One of the hurdles I had was weather for tomorrow, if it's good enough weather to go outside. But yeah, I think it's mostly talking about the medium, showing examples of it and giving them a chance to as well.
Okay. More? Well, do you have a sense, actually, how much, let me ask about you getting in touch with them. First of all, were there any issues there just coordinating with?
Not really. I mean, I'd never actually met with them in person, but it was easy enough to ask them on Messenger. And I do plan to go to the workshop tomorrow.
Yeah.
So that will be, I guess, the first opportunity to really see their idea in action. But in terms of just, they've been pretty responsive to my questions. There hasn't been any issues on that front.
Okay. Yeah, and I do have to point out, I think you're the only shadower for this game.
Yeah.
So obviously,
that's why it's a little bare bones.
Yeah, well, it's also why probably, well, actually, maybe we'll hear that the more shadowers there are, the more difficulty it is trying to get people together. So that might be a thing.
Another hurdle I just saw before I pass it on is that I just realized, like, with photography, it's easy to do, to try it yourself given a time frame. It might be a little harder with videography or DJing, just because those things take potentially longer.
Yeah.
I was just wondering if, so they're going to like a high school, right? So is this just? Oh, the students are coming here. So it's just like something they advertise to like high school students, like you can come and do this, and it's like an optional thing. They can just come and attend. Or do you not know?
Yeah, how are they getting there?
I don't know how how they contacted the school, how they got students, if it's volunteers or if it's mandatory. But again, it's just a matter of resources, like if you have the cameras and stuff. So it could have been theoretically done anywhere as long as they had cameras. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, there's actually brings up a lot of questions that I have, but actually that would be called audience acquisition in event planning and stuff like that. Like, how did they get them? And was that an issue too, or did they just talk to Professor Jarvis and he says, oh, I know someone, let me make a phone call, and he took care of it for them. So I guess I don't want to be so negative, but I do. Going forward, just so you guys know, I think probably the most helpful things to you guys is finding out all the terrible things that happened to them. Because, obviously their ideas are totally different than your idea, well, very different from your ideas. And the one thing that could probably be most helpful is just knowing, what were the barriers, what were the problems that they faced. So that was good that you had some, and I think, again, without wanting to make it sound like I'm being like, where are they screwing up? I want to hear all the bad stuff. I kind of do. So do focus on that as you guys go out there. But anyway, good job. Thank you very much. Keep in mind, yay. Good job. Thank you for going first. Extra kudos. You get a double star A for that, I guess. Also, just keep in mind is that there is another thing that I'll be asking you guys and pestering you guys for, which will be the actual press release document. No one's come back after me. I think they expected that we spit that out real quick so they can use it for their, whatever they do. But no one's given me a time frame, so I'll follow up with you guys later. Anywho, I just saw I got an invitation to look at another document in my mail, so let's pull up yours, Famous. Go. Answer, because I saw it on my phone. And, yep, nothing works. Ah, there it is. Aha. So that is the email that you have to share, my personal Gmail account.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, so actually, or maybe, yeah, whatever you... Oh, okay. Aha, and there it is. And there's that. Thank you. You ready, or you want another minute? Maybe Talis can go?
Sure.
Okay. So, this, yep.
Yeah, so just click on the link.
Yep. And if you would, so actually it occurred to me, so actually if you could hold this, actually, yeah, you sit there. I'll run around with the thing
Okay.
there. Just,
Sounds good. So
oops.
this is this is their actual final presentation that they use, and so they sent it to us. It's me, Sarah, AJ, and then Michelle, who's abroad. We're the shadowers. So Sarah actually met with one of their members this week, and I've been in contact with another member who I know personally. So that's worked out well for us. I basically just emailed her and said, like, hey, we're doing this. Can you send me information? And she did, and then set up meeting times and stuff.
Yeah, this is interesting. I've heard of, I've never tried, this is Prezi?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like this thing.
So if you click on like our project,
Yep,
and then it takes you there.
yep.
So the basic idea of their project is like following the idea of like walk a mile in their shoes. So basically like if you could actually like be that person and like live through their experiences. So they're using like virtual reality and like a haptic suit and everything to kind of like make you feel the experience of minorities or like groups who have a different experience than you. And they're focusing mostly on women, so having the experience of a woman and like what she might have to go through on the day-to-day and how that could differ from your own experience. And so they're doing this through virtual reality, a haptic suit, and then they're creating a first-person narrative short film. I think it's gonna be like 7 to 10 minutes. So if you click on the next one that says The Gap. So this is links from their website. They actually have a nice website. If you guys visit it, it's pretty well put together. So part of their website just features different stories of different experiences. A lot of them are like either stories of people that they've experienced in class or like Facebook messages or something that they've gotten, mostly kind of derogatory or overly sexual comments from men and things like that, just to show some of the experiences that they've gone through. And then if you click the right arrow, yeah. So the way that they're doing this is it's a multi-day event that's taking place in April, and they're working with the Cluster for the Arts here. And so basically they'll be putting on this event, showing the video, and then like letting you use like the haptic suit and the VR and stuff like that to like put you through this experience. And then if you click the arrow again, you have to click it twice, or you can click on tech. So this is like it's the technology that they're using. So 360 video, haptics, which if you don't know, that's a suit that you put on that like lets you experience things through touch. So it's basically to like make you feel like you're that person. And then virtual reality to kind of like put you in the mind frame of like actually being. And then the last one is just their website.
Which, yeah, I was checking this out. See if I can get to it. So it looks like a WordPress template.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, it was pretty well laid out. They put a lot of content. So basically, I, of course, went right to the technology tab. And so it was the haptic one.
I think that's the hard light.
Actually, what else did you find out?
You can ask, Sarah met with them, so she might.
Do we have a haptic suit?
Yeah, they got one. Well, you are got the one for them.
With one of the group members, Kalila, and she told me like a couple of things they had to do. Like they had to like get in contact with advisors, and they also had to email a couple of people to get the haptic suit, and also like for them it was really difficult. It wasn't really difficult, but like one of the issues they had was coming up with a logo, but they fixed that by like talking to each other and making up different options. And they're still currently working on filming, so they're still looking for some actors. We went to a cafe and they was talking to the manager to see if they can use it, and so they're still like talking about the film. And a couple of advice they had for us was to like work with people we like, or like people that we can get along with, and also like we shouldn't be too afraid to use big ideas, because if it's big we can always refine it, and if it's like small, like we'll be limited. So that's one of the things they told me. And another thing, outreach is really important, because if you want other organizations to help you, you need to go to them, and you also need to like email them.
Yeah, going along with their filming issues, if like, they need like extras and stuff, if you guys are interested, I can get you the contact information, and then you can be in their film, because right now one of the problems they're having is like finding people to like actually
I was
be in this
asked,
film.
and I just like, I'm so sorry. I'm like out of my mind. This is
Yeah, so if you are interested in being in their film and helping out, I know they offered us shadowers to do that, since like we're gonna be along for the ride, haha. But if you're also interested, let me know and I can get you guys in contact with them.
all right. Any other questions that they may or may not be able to answer? You know, but or things that we'd be interested to find out maybe over the course of time. Oh, Famous.
Yeah.
Famous says he will help and do everything that you want.
I might just send an email like through Blackboard to like all the students, you know, and then if you're with their contact, and then if you're interested, you can just email them, and then if not, you can just ignore it. So
That's a way. Do you know, like, out of all the groups that they could have picked, I mean, this is obviously a very timely one, but did they consider other minorities or other, I don't know, how do you say, just basically groups of people?
I think they considered it, but they wanted to focus on, because they're like making the film and everything, and it's only like a 1 weekend event that they're doing
They
it.
had to pick one.
Yeah, so they had to pick one, and I think the original idea that Carolina had was about women, like being a woman, I guess. And having
Very
3,
timely, too.
yeah, their group is like 3 women and then one male. So I think like also for their group, it made sense to focus on that.
I found it interesting, the comment about make sure you work with people that you get along with. I don't.
So the reason she told me that was because like not just only get along with, just people that have similar interests with you, because like if you're not like look. 2 of the girls, they were interested in 3D, like the 3D world, and the others were interested in the narrative. So like they came together and then they formed a group like that. So just pick stuff that like you feel like you have interest in.
Okay, so yeah, so it's not like anyone needs to be convinced, or like you're already on. If you start on the same page and the same interests, that probably helps expedite getting things up to speed. So yeah, that makes sense. Any other questions at this time, or things that you'd like to find out about how they're doing? Going once, twice. Okay, then in the interest of time, let's see. Oh, I think I saw something come up in Slack. Let's see. This one, right? Okay, actually, I'm going to grab that mic over there. And, okay, or do you want to drive? I mean, there's a bunch, or just give me a nod. The next one. Can I grab that back? Here, just I don't walk around with that. I'll walk around with this. Okay. Like me. Does this still work? Yes, it does.
Am I good, or should I?
Sounds
Okay.
good.
Cool.
Sound check.
So the group that my group shadow was X-Base. Our group members are, and I can't really pronounce her name.
You're on
yes.
the spot.
She is in Japan. So yeah, where's the button? Cool. So, where are my lecture notes? No. Is there a way to pull up notes on this thing?
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, I think I might have to click something to go into 2 different displays or something. I just went right into presentation. Let's see. So, yeah, that's not helpful.
My cheat sheet. I can present without notes.
Oh, well, okay. Well, start talking about things.
Yeah, sure.
I'll try to bring it up, but I think I can do it.
So we didn't actually get a chance to meet with the actual group of X-Base, but we did stock a lot of their data and have some correspondence with them. So their group project is a virtual reality presentation of the Rochester subway. The main points that they emphasized in the stuff that we stocked was that the subways were very popular in like 1956, but they've been abandoned since then. The city has tried to renovate the Rochester subway multiple times, but it's never really clicked. So the majority of it is shut down, but there are some pockets of still used, but not a lot. But within the subway, there's a lot of forgotten and abandoned artwork that has been collected over just years, and it's really cool work. I actually haven't been myself, but like from what I've heard, it's really amazing work pieces. So what they wanted to do was allow people to view this lost history and lost time through a virtual reality space that's safer than going down to the subway itself, because it's a little bit dangerous at night and in general.
Yeah.
So
Okay. Actually, and you got notes over here. So you don't miss anything.
yay. Cool. Do that. Right. So it's an interactive art piece. Essentially, you'll be going to an exhibition space, and you can put your phone up on like a blank canvas and view the work that's been there over the past years. It's a initiative to show the artwork of past time periods and current time periods, like the paintings people had back then and of now. And it's just really, really cool. So it's been abandoned, so it's like kind of a metaphor, like everything that glitters isn't gold, it is an abandoned subway, but everything that's discarded is not forgotten. So that's a really cool thing that I felt really attached to in their presentation. So this was just their promotional video. It's on the thing, the DMS fair slide. I didn't know that would happen, so screw it. Cool. So the technology that they're using is a 360-degree simulation. So the canvas is like just like a bubble you walk in and just spin around and view stuff. It's accompanied by historical audio of, I'm assuming, Rochester. I didn't really find much information on like what the historical audio is, but I assume it's like of Rochester facts. And it's to preserve a decaying form of art, because eventually the subways will crumble if no one's going to renovate them. So having a digital transcript of stuff that's transpired is just a really great way of preserving the great work that's there. But it seems really ambitious. Like virtual reality and 3D stuff is kind of, it's been done, but it's kind of new and it's hard to topple, especially in 3 semesters. So they get the sponsors. Some of the people that they worked for on this project is both the Rochester Subway, 19th Ward Community Association, Office of City Historians, City Department of Park Recreation, Department of Innovation, Morgan Management, I didn't know what that one was, and iZone, which is the new thing on campus. They're really cool resources. And General Enthusiast. If any of you know Shelly, and I can't think of her last name, they list the people that aren't part of the DMS class, so are just really enthusiastic about the project, which I find really cool. So, team makeup. So, Naomi, Sammy, George, and yes. Naomi is the team lead. Sammy's documentation collector. George is content designer, and Valve is distribution director, but they all have their own professions like design and digital media. And the main points of their project that I found were like, I didn't know what they were. We're curating, laser scanning, and photogrammetry, photography, design, and marketing software. At least I understood what those were. So I thought the main problems they would have in their attempt was finding ways to do those three things. But they're actually pretty talented group of people. Sammy and George have a curating experience with just like just pulling together a select group of stuff for exhibition viewing, which didn't seem that hard, but I can't run a museum, so I'm assuming it is. Photography, they all do that. Laser scanning and photogrammetry, Naomi specializes in that, which is actually really cool. Laser scanning is like taking multiple shots of adjacent views of an object so that you can create like a 3D representation of it. Photogrammetry is putting an object on like a spinning stool and photographing it so you can get like the whole view of it. That's just really cool, but only Naomi apparently has experience doing it, so there is a problem in the like design. It's that's a lot of work for one small human. But yes, okay. That is their project.
So actually, can you go back to the previous slide, one back? I'd be interested to find. Oh, actually, let me. So, do you have something scheduled for your
like
the shadowers, or actually, who's meeting with them? And do you have something scheduled yet? Like
Monday.
Monday. Okay, so I'd be interested in like how are those team roles. I mean, I was wondering about this. Like, to what extent are they just bullshit?
I wondered about that too.
Everyone just does everything, and it's like, okay, we need this now. Who's got bandwidth, and one of them jumps in, or do they really keep it as like, oh no, I'm the distribution director. I don't even know what that means.
I sincerely doubt that they follow these rules strictly. It was just to put on like a piece of paper.
Yeah.
One of them is.
By the way, excuse me, you guys will be asked to do the same thing. You know, and I've seen this over the past, a couple times we've done these senior capstone projects, and I've always wondered that. It's like, do these actually mean anything? So, I'm sorry, what are your, I interrupted.
I mean, well, when I emailed the group, Naomi's the one who responded, so okay. I guess that kind of fit, but I thought, yeah.
Team lead is
pretty much her whole job. But one of them isn't even here, one of them is abroad, and I forgot which one, so.
Actually, oh yeah, I don't know. Well, Jorge's here, and Valette, I've seen him. Naomi's here, so it must be Sammy.
I think it's Sammy.
Oh, so everyone's here.
So I think they just like put titles. Oh, they're all here?
I think, well, I saw Valette like last week, or about a week ago, but maybe he's coming and going.
I stand corrected.
And Jorge is one of my TAs, so I see him every week.
Fair enough. Oh, yeah. Well, they're all here then, never mind.
Okay. Well, you'll find out more when you actually meet with them.
Cool.
Any other questions or thoughts or things you want to know when they meet, find out, like, more, like, tell us the dirt, like, is everyone are they at each other's throats,
I guess my question would be, like, they have these sponsors, which is really cool because it's good to have sponsors. But at the same time, is that like an issue? Like the sponsors want them to do this, but they're like, we want to, like, this is our idea for the project. And the sponsors are like, no, you should do this. Like, I could see that being an issue, especially as like college student group, where you have like the Rochester subway telling you, no, you should be doing this.
So yes.
That's interesting. What are their expectations?
Yeah, exactly. You come to them and say, we want to do this project to preserve the subway. And they're like, cool. And then they're like, okay, but do it this way. And it's like, that's not really our idea.
So yes, they have had some problems with that. It's mainly there's abandoned parts of the subway and there's historical parts of the subway, and some historical parts they're not allowed to go into, at least without extensive permission. So it's not really that they want them to do something specific, it's that they won't give them access to go to certain places. At least not without like sneaking about. But there's no like guard stopping you, you just gotta sneak in. Hop a fence.
But keep that in mind. When you guys, like, whatever you're doing, and you need and end up getting sponsors, there's got to be some kind of trade-off there. And so maybe actually for any of you, when you meet with your teams and if they are working with sponsors, get more information on like how that goes. After you say, yes, we're going to help you, what does that mean?
Oh, and we do have, you sent an email to them and they responded with questions. They responded with a few answers. They've had trouble with like 3D, bless you, software and like Unity and Unreal, Unity and one other thing starts with a V. It's just like hard software to learn because they're doing, yeah, they're putting on a mobile app which isn't a lot of data, but 3D stuff kind of takes up a lot of space. So that's been difficult. Yeah.
Unreal will break your computer.
Like my laptop is on fire in my lap when I program it and stuff. Like molten lava.
Yeah, that's a thing too. And by the way, that too, I'm just going to make a sales pitch, is why I want to do, keep forgetting the word, not prototypes, but proof of concept demos here in this thing. So like if you're planning to, I'm going to use Unity because I know it can do it and all this other stuff, do something with it just to see what, just to test it out. Proof of concept demos is something that I definitely want to squeeze in this semester. All right. Thank you. All right. So, yes.
Oh, thank you.
Great applause. Yeah. That's right. Yeah. I appreciate it. And for Telus, applause. Yay. Rochester, yay. All right. Someone else send me anything? Is anyone else ready to go? Oh yeah, Pip. And actually, how are we doing on time? Yeah, we're in the. Actually, let's give us like a preview on Pip. Okay. Yep. Got it. Oh, the Spark thing. I think I linked to this, but yeah. Have you learned anything about Pip? Actually, yeah, give us a kind of a quick intro. Who's, nice. Hope I didn't slice that. Yeah, who's on the shadowing team and anything you know would be good.
Okay.
Oh, wait.
So, it's me, Rardo, Amina, and Zuen? Okay. And then last night I met with Tehran and Matt, and they like pretty much gave me the rundown. It's like it's an app that keeps track of your food and like the expiration date, so that when you go grocery shopping, you can just like pull up the app and you'll know like what you need to buy, what you don't need to buy, and then you waste less food. So it's like a pretty succinct concept, and I think it's like pretty attainable. In terms of like problems they've had, they like told us two big ones. One was that being on a college campus, it's really hard to get user data because we all eat prison food from the pit instead of buying our own food.
That is right.
And like, who actually goes grocery shopping here? Like, and then, so to like fix that, they had to like go to the public market and poll there, and then they also just like ask their parents for data.
That'll work.
And then the other problem was getting into contact with stakeholders. They tried to reach out to Wegmans and Hearts, and then neither replied.
Oh.
Yeah.
Usually Wegmans has been responsive because other people have worked with Wegmans on projects.
Well, the thing I would think is that this would actually like take money away from Wegmans if people waste less food.
No. Yeah, no, I know conceptually, yeah, but they're probably skeptical. And anyways, they're also big on social, kind of initiatives. So I don't think they would necessarily be opposed for business reasons. Also, they probably think, oh, that's cute. You're going to try to do an app, and not knowing our power, but they would be, probably it's just a matter of like, who do you contact? I mean, do you just write a letter to Wegmans.com, So maybe they're struggling with that, which is, let that be a lesson to us all, Big corporations, you got to have an in. So I'd be interested, like, how are they reaching out to, like, Wegmans, for data? Do they know anyone? Does anyone know anyone? Or is it literally just a cold call to info at Wegmans.com?
Mm-hmm.
be interested to find out about that. Do you guys have, wait just a sec, can't do two. Do you have any more things scheduled?
Not yet. Not yet, but we will.
Okay. Where was it? So I did see these things, and I linked it. So actually, there was more to this Spark. It wasn't working. Oh yeah. So yeah, there's a link to this in my course documentation page. Words that really describe, and I was able to get my head around the idea here. Also, they have their Facebook page and Instagram. Not much in it at this point, but just stuff. And I think that's all we know at this time, so, yep.
I was just going to say, Michael, that you should tell them that there's now an adjunct professor working in computer science who works for Witness.
Oh.
He's the head of one of their...
Scott
Root, yeah.
Scott Root.
Yeah, he works for them, and he might be able to find someone who would actually answer them.
Yes, I sit with him because I crash over at in the adjunct office over in the Wegmans Hall.
Yeah, he leads a team for like their IT.
Yeah.
Or whatever. So he'd probably be someone you could talk to at least get a contact.
Yeah, and that's his day job actually. He comes here to teach what was Bobby St. Jacques' class because he's yeah.
Mobile app development.
So basically, yeah, the guy who's now teaching CSE, what would you say, 214? Yeah, is a Wegmans employee, actually in the inside, actually working in IT and has access to stuff. So I don't know, that's a good thing to bring up. Anyway, so what I'd like to do next week, actually two things, is continue, actually three things. Continue this discussion about whatever you guys can find out and present and share with us about the senior capstone project.